So turns out, I had a long-lost uncle who was a billionaire businessman from Luxembourg. Sadly, he passed away. But in his will, he gifted one member of his extended family $1 billion US. And by luck of the draw, that ended up being me. So now with all this extra cash in hand, I figure the only way to spend it is I'm buying an MLS expansion team. Crazy story, right? Pretty unbelievable, right? That's because it's not true. I made it all up. But I figure something like this is probably the only way I'd ever be able to have enough money to buy my own MLS expansion team. So let's run with it. And because I do a lot of bitching on this channel about branding and identities and jerseys and whatnot, it's time for me to put my money where my mouth is. It's time for me to step up and show MLS how it's done. And I promise you that I will be the most passionate owner of a fake MLS team to ever exist.
So after paying the expansion fee of $500,000, it's time to make my own team. Now, the easiest part of this whole process was picking a location. There is a city out there who has put up decent viewership numbers for MLS broadcasts, who surprisingly, or at least surprisingly in my opinion, has never been seriously considered for MLS expansion. This is a city that doesn't even have a USL or even a NISA team, despite certainly being big enough. But it's also a city with a lot of soccer history, being home to two of the oldest clubs in the United States, with Croatian Eagles being formed in 1923 and the Bavarian Soccer Club being founded in 1929. They both play in the UPSL. We're going up north to the great state of Wisconsin and landing in Milwaukee. I mean, it just makes too much sense for me personally. My parents live in Wisconsin and I'm already a big Bucks fan, so if I live in Milwaukee and run this team, I could definitely get season tickets for the Bucks, which I've always wanted.
Now you might be thinking, oh, there's already enough teams in the Midwest. Surely MLS is going to want to look elsewhere first. And you might be right. But I'm just thinking, with the successes of Minnesota and Cincinnati and SKC and the revitalized Columbus Crew, I'm willing to bet that Don could be convinced to check out the Cream City.
Okay, so I want to make a point that with every element of this team, I want to do something different. I want to truly create something that has never been seen before in MLS. Well, there are a lot of teams in the league now. Basically, every single color and shade is taken. Hell, even gray is off the board.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Minnesota.
But there is one color out there that has not been touched, except for a completely random third jersey from Vancouver of all teams in 2012-2013. That color is brown. I think brown is a completely underutilized color in sports. Yeah, some might think it looks like poo, but I've always thought it looks classy. And now what to pair brown with? Well, that Vancouver Whitecaps third jersey was brown and light blue. It looks good, but since Vancouver already used it, it's out of the running. I tried a couple other colors, not a lot of them looked great with brown, but then I got inspired by my high school mascot, the Golden Eagles. Yeah, brown and yellow. I could definitely run with this. White will be the tertiary color, but it'll be used sparingly and not even featured on the badge. I like it when badges only have two colors.
A lot of different angles I can take with this. The one thing I don't want to do is, I don't want to just settle with another traditional name. I don't want to just be city name FC. I like in MLS how there's a mixture of traditional and Americanized names, but it seems like with recent expansion we've gotten a hell of a lot more traditional names than not. So I think it's time to buck that trend.
All right, so what is Milwaukee known for? Well, beer. Milwaukee has a ton of beer and a lot of breweries. We can go in that direction. However, there's already the Milwaukee Brewers baseball team, so okay, let's look somewhere else. Milwaukee also has a strong German influence. I definitely could lean into that. But I can't just call them the Milwaukee Germans. Milwaukee Bavarians is kind of already taken. The last idea I came up with were the rivers. There are 3 rivers that flow into the harbor of Milwaukee, those being the Kinnickinnick, the Menominee, and Milwaukee rivers. A side note, if you guys are ever in Milwaukee, I suggest you check out the Riverwalk. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so how about the Milwaukee Rivermen? Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's an Americanized name, which is what I wanted. It is unique, and it's acceptable. But I don't just want acceptable. I want something that pushes the boundaries. And one night of watching some HITC 7s, I came across a video. 7 clubs without places in their names. And my eyes lit up. Juventus, Arsenal, Olympiacos. There are plenty of examples around the world of this, but none in MLS. Every MLS team has a city name attached to it. The only exception was Chivas USA, but they're long gone. Can we do it for the Rivermen? Well, just calling ourselves Rivermen SC, that's okay, I guess, if not a little bland. But then I remembered how I wanted to incorporate the German influence in Milwaukee. So, with the help of Google Translate, I punched in the Rivermen and came up with Die Flushmänner. The translation's a little incorrect. I apologize. I mean, I wasn't sure if it was going to be D or Das or Der, but realized I only have $1 billion here. It's not like I can afford a proper German translator.
Die Flussmänner. I f***ing love it. It's perfect. I mean, this is truly one of a kind. Even if you don't like the name, you have to admit, you've never heard of an MLS team with a German name before. So there you go. Mission accomplished. You want to talk about creating buzz right out of the gate? This is going to do it. They're going to be debating this on Pardon the Interruption and all the other ESPN shows that don't touch soccer with a 10-foot pole. European outlets are going to be making fun of us. But you know what? I'm fine with that. Because I happen to believe that any publicity, even bad publicity, is still good publicity. As long as you don't get canceled for it. And this, oh yeah, this is going to get people talking.
We got to do something that hasn't been seen before in MLS. How about a circle? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. After a couple of half-hearted attempts of creating different shapes of shields, I then accidentally knocked over a deck of playing cards and ended up picking up the 3 of diamonds. Okay, diamond it is. That kind of goes along with the German theme. I mean, there's a couple teams from the Bundesliga that have the diamond shape. So yellow diamond, brown border. And since we're talking Rivermen here, how about a ship wheel in the middle? And put an M in there for Milwaukee. What font should the M be? Well, I could look for a more old-style European font, but I use the Georgia font for everything in my videos, so okay, let's just stick with that. Yeah, I think it looks all right. I tried other symbols like an anchor and a fish, and honestly, I liked my first choice the best. Ship wheel it is.
So turns out there is a minor league hockey team called the Peoria Rivermen who also use a ship wheel in their logo. And they have decided to take legal action against us and sue us for $1 billion. This is bullshit. Honestly, I could probably win this case, okay? Because they can't own the imagery of the ship wheel. They don't monopolize that. And look at our 2 logos. I mean, they're completely different. But I don't want to go to court. I can't risk it.
Because our team name is technically German, we can keep the name Die Flushmänner. And then we had announced our intentions of changing up our badge to avoid the lawsuit. However, after a social media movement to #SaveTheWheel, we then decided it was best not to piss off all of our fans. And the best course of action was just to settle this out of court.
So basically, in the end, we just gave Peoria $20 million to shut up and drop the case. Everything was kind of done after that. Peoria, you better win like 10 straight SPHL titles with the $20 million gifted to you. God.
I want something timeless, yet new. In the early days, there were only a few designs of soccer jerseys. You had solids, half and half, stripes, sash, and hoops. I want one of those designs. Let's knock out solids and stripes. We've seen that now a couple times in MLS. A sash would be okay, but it just doesn't really go along with my vision. Now, I love hoops. I think hoops are maybe my favorite soccer design, and I really wish there were more hoops in MLS. But for some reason that I just can't really explain, I'm just feeling the half and half design a little more. I think it'll work a little bit better with our color scheme. So using FIFA Kit Creator, I played around with some design elements and landed on this. I think it's pretty simple. I think it's clean, brown and yellow half and half, brown shorts, brown socks. In future kits, I want to keep the half and half design, and I just think there's a lot I can do with it. For the away kits, again, I wanted to do something different. I don't want to just settle for a white shirt. Well, Milwaukee is the cream city. Perfect. Let's do cream shirt, cream shorts with brown stripes and then brown socks. I think it's appropriate. I incorporated a little bit of our wave pattern in there to help pay homage to the actual rivers. As far as the sponsorship is concerned, well, originally I put actual companies on there, but I don't know if that's legal for me to just like fake a sponsorship. So instead I put DTR. It's a new company that's in the works. Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay, let's just time out for a second, because obviously I'm taking a lot of liberties with this video, but especially with this next part, because I have no real idea on how to secure land for a stadium. So let's just use our imaginations here and pretend, yes, I was able to get a stadium in downtown Milwaukee, whether or not that's realistic. Also, while designing jerseys and badges, that's kind of straightforward. With the stadium, I had a really hard time coming up with estimates for costs of everything. So I'm not sure how realistic and accurate this is going to be.
Now, this point was made in the last video, but I think it's worth repeating. The average cost of an MLS stadium is $221 million, with that number only increasing. For me, I need to get that number lower, because I'm paying for it 100%. Columbus Crew's first soccer-specific stadium, Historic Crew Stadium, was only built for $28.5 million. SeatGeek Stadium, Chicago Fire's previous soccer-specific stadium, was only built for $100 million. So it is absolutely possible. Honestly, I don't need the laser light show on the outside. I don't need the super expensive luxury suites or the hotels and shopping center around the stadium. Just give me the actual stadium. And make it look like a castle. Yeah, I like the look of old castles. Can we make that into a stadium? I mean, they did it in Qatar with Al Shamal SC Stadium. So here's what I'm thinking. 20,000 seats, that's one section all the way around. And let's go stone on the outside with natural grass. I know, natural grass in Milwaukee, it is going to be in rough shape come the playoffs, but hey, it is what it is. Let's deal with it. The corner towers will be like 15 to 20 feet taller than the rest of the stadium, but no seats will be up there. It will have, though, big screens for the scoreboard.
Now, the big expense for the stadium, and ultimately what's going to make it stand out from other stadiums in MLS, you know, besides the fact of it being a castle, is I'm going to put an 8-lane, 400-meter track around the field. It just makes sense to me because I'm a runner and I've always wanted to see other teams do this. And the track itself really isn't that expensive. I mean, according to Google, a 400-meter polyurethane track is only going to cost about $1 million from scratch. So that's definitely doable.
However, this also means the stands will be a little bit farther away from the field, meaning the whole stadium itself will have to be a bit bigger and therefore have to use more stone. And so with the stone, the natural grass, and the running track, that's going to drive the cost up. However, that's really it. Like, the rest of the stadium is going to be a bit bare bones. I'm not going to have a roof. I'm going to have very generic locker rooms and no big electric signage around the stadium. I feel like I need to further explain why I'm so big on the running track. And it's that I think it can be a source of revenue. If we can somehow host the Wisconsin State track meet for high school, I don't know if they would allow that in downtown Milwaukee, but if we can, that is a huge money-making event every year. Now, absolutely no American football will be allowed in this stadium. I know they bring the FCS championship to Frisco every year. I know they've played NFL football in LA. I'm sure those are huge revenue sources, but I'm not allowing it in Milwaukee. I don't need the football lines.
Yes, I can definitely be very wrong with some of these estimations. But overall, I think I could get the cost of the stadium down to about ballpark $200 million. And yes, the stadium is starting off with 20,000 seats, but I'll make it expandable with renovations, get it up to 24,000 seats. But in the beginning, let's stick with 20,000. It seems like a good number for most MLS stadiums. Yeah, I want to win trophies. I want to be the best team in MLS. But as a manager, I pride myself on being realistic. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. We're not LA. We're not Miami. We're not New York. We're not even Toronto. We are never going to be able to land players like Insigne or Messi or Neymar or whoever. So, okay, once we accept that reality, let's focus our attention on the academy. Let's get a lot of Wisconsin blood on this team. And also, let's target a lot of MLS vets. Get the MLS lifers on our team. And I know you're probably sick of me talking about it, but the truth is, there is a strong German influence in Milwaukee. And with this team having an overall German theme, if we are going to attract DPs, let's go after Germany.
All right, now work with me on this one. Maybe they'll be more likely to come to Milwaukee if it's going to feel a little bit more like home. And you know what? Let's throw the bag at Joachim Low. He's not managing anyone right now. I mean, if we can make him the highest paid coach in MLS, I bet there will be some that want to play with him. And before you say, oh, it's so unrealistic that he would ever come to MLS, remember, this guy just signed for Toronto. So I'm not ruling anything out. Okay, now I'm not going to make an entire hypothetical roster. I think that's kind of a waste of time, but I'm not going to be afraid to spend the money. Going off of Transfer Market, top 10 total market values is around $32 million. Let's say that's our number, $32 million plus $10 million or so for Joachim Low. Yeah, I really want him. I think we can afford to spend that much. Verteidige den Fluss. Defend the river. That is our motto. I had an idea when I first started working on this. I wanted to make something good. But the longer I spent on this, the more and more that idea evolved into making something truly unique. MLS is a unique league, and I just tried to match their energy.
If you would like to join the fight and support Die Flussmänner, shirts are now on sale. Yeah, I got merch now for an MLS team that doesn't exist. Isn't that cool? I'll leave a link in the description below. And also, I started a Patreon. That's going to help fund some of these weird projects like this. And also, The Left Shin Guard, which is my MLS preview show with Anthony LaRosa every Thursday night during the MLS season. Weird video, I know, but I had fun with it, so thanks for humoring me. I promise I'll get back to the normal stuff next time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. And remember, Verteidigen den Fluss.